So we are actually just 1 minute away from our time, and we're just trying to settle in and get started. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much for joining us with our very first EMA session. My name is Jonathan Marvis Clark, and it is my pleasure to serve you as your host for our very first Twitter space. And our objective today is to provide you with a glimpse into the exciting development of our team latest project. Our esteemed CEO, obviously, Andrei, will be sharing his valuable insights and experiences with us. Additionally, he will be addressing all of your inquiries and concerns regarding our innovative initiative, of course, Openfabric AI. So today's session, we will divide this into two segments. The first segment will involve myself as a host asking series of questions, while the second segment will entail the selection of 5 listeners from the audience to pose the question and inquiries directly to Andrei. Um, so if you do have any question like comments, you can just go into the comment section and leave a comment there. Our team will be ready there to provide you all the additional information that you need. So with no further ado, we will just jump straight into this. First, let's have Andrew test his mic. Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Good. So as I mentioned, with no further ado, we'll just jump straight into today's session, and we will start with our very first question. If you just join us again, this is a well welcome to you. Our first question will be, Andre, how do you explain what Open Fabric AI is, and what was the big vision behind creating Open Fabric AI? Because we believe that so many people want to understand your big ideas, your innovative ideas that you're trying to bring to the industry. What is the big vision behind this?
Okay, so I guess, in order to properly answer this question, I guess it makes sense just to take a step back to understand a bit, what protocols are. I mean, sometimes, most of the small thing can have a very profound impact. So one of those things are protocols. So we see them all around us, even though we are maybe are aware or not about them. So essentially, a protocol is just a set of rules that when they are followed by a lot of people, they can unlock a lot of new collaboration and to basically unleash a unlimited potential. So we can see like two such of protocols. I guess one of the most well known are like the internet and the blockchain. So internet is it's a protocol that let people to exchange data in a simple way, globally without any kind of constraint. Blockchain is a protocol which is allowing people to exchange value, unlimited without any kind of restriction. So Open Fabric it's creating something similar. So it's creating a protocol which is revolutionizing the way how we use AI technology. So in Open Fabric, people can join and easily make use of AI application very easily. So in a nutshell, it's bringing together developers, data, and infrastructure. All of this working together to create a very powerful and relevant AI application that makes sense for the user. So I guess this is the most important part. So getting back to the vision. So I guess the vision of Open Fabric is to democratize access to AI, to make it widely accessible to people. So we just see like a very glimpse of what AI technology can do through ChatGPT. And I guess the main success is because they managed to expose the technology in a way that makes sense for the users. So Open Fabric vision is the same. We want people to make use of AI technology very easily without any kind of restriction, like technical restriction or infrastructure restriction. Basically democratizing access to AI application.
Well, that's a fantastic explanation, Andre. Thank you for providing such a really good information. And I think that has to do with developers and all the data providers. This is just the best space for you to be in to start monetizing your AR applications. So with that being said, we'll just move straight to the second question. And this second question has to do with the industrial experience. So let's get started. How do you see the intersection of AR and Web3 transforming industries outside of the tech? And what impact do you think we have on society as a whole?
So I guess in order to properly answer that question, it makes sense to take a look of the current state. So right now we see Web 2 and Web 3. And I guess this is a bit wrong because there's only web. There isn't such thing as Web 2 or Web 3. But I guess this just naturally happened because people started to distrust like centralized entity, like big companies like Google, like Microsoft, like Facebook, all these big companies which are, centralizing and siloing access to technology. So I guess AI being one of the most powerful technology that we currently invented by the human mind, I guess it doesn't make any sense to be any more centralized and controlled by this big company. So of course, I guess the philosophy of Web3 it's just something that makes a lot of sense to be used hand in hand with AI. So basically, the idea is that we can use the blockchain and Web3 philosophy to make AI decentralized and make it widely available to a lot of people. So instead of relying on centralized entity which are silos and gatekeeping the access to powerful AI application, we can make use of blockchain in decentralization to create something like a sort of internet of AI, essentially creating like a new web where people can use freely and without any kind of restriction, make use of AI application that AI can be like a very powerful tool that can be used in many ways to solve a lot of most hard and most complex problems that we're currently facing. So it's not like, okay, you can use AI to generate pictures or to generate content. AI can be used in many other ways, like, researching like a new treatment for diseases, or maybe it can be used to solve the climate exchange problem and many other hard problems. So I guess in a nutshell, Web3, I see just a natural way to extend the capability of what AI can achieve.
Very interesting, very interesting. Speaking of AR and Web3, I think that also poses another add-on question to that. You just mentioned about all the amazing things that AI could potentially do and currently is doing in the space. So this question has to do with what do you think would be the most exciting developments in these fields, especially AR and Web3?
So I guess if it's about to have a look back on how AI emerged and hit road, it started like almost 30 years ago. So it has a lot of ups and downs. But I guess right now we have the right infrastructure, so we are able to run so very powerful models that can just can solve more complex problems. Not only like being a really good chess player as it was like maybe 20 years ago. So we just start to untap the potential of AI. We are just if on the comparison. We are just invented the personal computer. We are in that phase where we just invented the personal computer, and in the next year we're going to see some amazing innovation. All of this because people are able to use AI as they currently use personal computers. So if you go back when people where computer was something only like governmental institution or big company has access to. Nowadays, we see a lot of innovation just because a lot of people have access to using computers. So in a similar way, I guess the more people will have access to using AI technology and use it in their work and create new things, I guess we're going to see something amazing happening around us. A lot of our problem will going to be solved. And essentially, it's just that Web3 can be used to scale up and to democratize access to AI. So imagine a world where everyone can use AI technology to solve a lot of complex problem without being expert in a lot of things. So it's truly powerful and groundbreaking.
I mean, that's a really a fantastic question answer to that. So just to give a quick announcement, I mean, we welcome your active participation in the conversation, and we encourage you to share your thoughts and questions in the comment section. And our backstage team will be right there to give you all the answers that you need. So, Andrei, you talked about the data and the big ideas that the AI and Web3 space is bringing to the world. So let's drop more into security part because more people are concerned about their data, more people are concerned about their information. Could you explain how Openfabric ensures the privacy and security of data scientists and their applications?
So yeah, glad you asked this question because this is something that we have in our mind even from the beginning. So all these concerns are very detailed and very extensively explained in our technical white paper. But in a nutshell, our protocol is securing AI innovator intellectual property and it's protecting end user data. So we're creating something that we call trusted execution environment. So this is like a sort of sandbox, special design and cryptographically secured. So that is make sure that the innovators application, like developer application, are not exposed to outside and are not available for people to just to see how this is working. Or so basically ensuring that the intellectual property is protected. And on the same side, from an end user perspective, we secure all the communication with the end user. So basically, you as an end user, when you're using an AI application which is deployed on top of Openfabric, no one else except you can access that information which is sent to the trusted execution environment. So of course, there's a lot of technical detail on ensuring and securing these kind of features. So if there are people very interested on the technical side, I highly encourage you to have a look over the white paper. But in a nutshell, the way we design our protocol, we enable those features from the start. So we want to make sure that everyone feel confident and feel secure about their data and using those applications or building on top of Openfabric.
I think on a more personal note, that is a major concern for me, especially with everything that is happening. A lot of AI apps are on the market, different services are on the market, and data protection is one of the key issues. And I also believe that people in the audience will want to know more about that part. So let's drop straight to the next question. How does Openfabric support collaboration and knowledge sharing among data scientists and AI innovators?
So we created something that we call ontology connection system. See, so it's one of our protocol has three major pillars. So one is something that we call decentralized operating system. The second is the trusted execution environment, and the third one is the ontology connection system. So this feature is something that essentially let people to combine multiple AI models as Lego pieces. So essentially, developers can, collaborate together into creating more powerful, more interesting AI application by combining them force by creating, pipes and creating chains of AI application. But at the same time, all of developers can, individually exploit their result and get monetized back for the amount of work they did on that. So in a way, Openfabric is trying to encourage collaboration over competition. I guess competition is good sometimes, but when it's about building things and when it's about creating something very meaningful and something that will make a lot of value, I guess the power of collaboration is more important than that one of the competition. So that's why we design our protocol in a way that let people to collaborate and to combine multiple AI application and models to create things which are more high level, because for the end user, something that is very techy, something that is very complex may be interesting or maybe not, but when it's about creating high level application which are closer to the end user, closer to the consumer, I guess this is where the real value and the real potential of AI stands in.
And that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Especially talking about collaboration, I've been seeing tons of different partnership, and I must compliment you and the entire team at Openfabric for a lot of collaboration. And something that you just mentioned already stuck out is the fact that you see the business has more of collaboration as opposed to competition, which is very good, and it's a good takeaway from it. So that leads me to the next question. So I believe that developers that are in the space right now want to understand, the programming languages that you are using. So what programming languages and framework does Openfabric support, and how does this benefit data scientists?
So right now, our trusted execution environment provides support for Python, because Python is essentially one of the most used programming language for data scientists and AI developers. So in terms of the frameworks, we don't have any kind of limitations. So people can build on top of Openfabric. They just have to include our SDK and get the maybe already existing application, wrap it up using our SDK, and just deploy it, and that's it. Essentially, we create a lot of API, SDK, integration tools, documentation, even though they are currently only shared with a selected group of people which are currently building some use case in the private testnet. We prepare all the materials and all the requirement tools which enable the people to build on top of Openfabric very easy. So in terms of the frameworks, we support any kind of framework, like TensorFlow, PyTorch, it doesn't matter. As long as you're using Python, you are able to deploy and create your AI application very easily with the minimum of frictions.
Fantastic. Yes. This leads on to the next question. But before I give the next question, I would like to invite everyone. I mean, you're welcome to the active participation, and you can go just in the comment section and leave your question, and our backstage team will be right there to give you all the answers. But stay tuned, because we're going to open the stage for you to ask Andrew directly any question that you may have, and he's going to be happy to provide you with additional information. So, Andrew, this has to do with an open-ended question. We want to know the big picture. You talk about the vision, you talk about the security aspect, you talk about the collaboration, in which I personally believe that these are really good steps to making something very promising. So we'd like to know, what is the roadmap for the future development of Openfabric, and what new features or capabilities should we expect to see in the near future?
So I guess you can think about Openfabric as you currently think about Ethereum. So essentially, Ethereum, I guess it's good to have a comparison. So, Ethereum, their main innovation was the possibility for people to create smart contract. So if you just take a step back and look at the entire Web3 ecosystem, all of this is happening because, Ethereum created the idea of smart contract and the way of enable people to use and make use of smart contracts. So we're building a similar innovation, but with AI. So in our case, we let people to freely build their own AI use case, to expand that, and to make use of the centralized network to execute and to make use of the most sophisticated AI use case. So when it's about, okay, what's the future plan? So I guess what we currently have is just the beginning. It's just the fundamental layer of what we're trying to build. So imagine a lot of people building on top of Openfabric, a lot of interesting application, because this is not only about creating like technical use case. It's about creating application that makes sense for the user. So imagine the possibilities of what people can achieve using AI grounding force as a base technology. So, Openfabric is actually opening the gates to something more revolutionary than all the things you've seen so far. So you just see a bit of potential of what AI can do with maybe ChatGPT and some similar solution. But imagine a world where everyone can essentially is capable to use AI technology and to build their own ideas and to bring it to reality, as we currently use any kind of like your traditional frameworks or programming language. So this is truly groundbreaking and fundamentally changing all the game in the space, we think.
That's a really good response, Andrei, and thank you for that. Again, if you just joined us, this is our very first AMA session, and today's objective is to provide you with a glimpse into the exciting development of Openfabric latest project. And Andrei is providing all the basic information, and we were going to open the space for you to ask Andrei any question. Again, this is an official welcome to our space. So, Andrei, as you mentioned, you talked about the collaboration, the space. You talk about the big vision. If you were to give a one sentence, what do you want people in the audience or potential customer or potential people that are supposed to join the ecosystem, what do you want them to remember when they think about Openfabric?
So I guess one of the key the key taken or things that people should have in mind when they're thinking about Openfabric, they should think as as a sort of new innovation that is groundbreaking, that is limiting it's pushing the limit of the technology, because this is what we're doing. I mean, we are working in a while. We started like the idea starting in 2019. We worked a while. We did a lot of research. Because the problem we're solving is not something trivial. So I guess you won't see out there too many people trying to to fight with this problem, because we think that the first person and the first people which are able to solve the problem we think we solved, I guess it's going to change the face of technology forever. So I guess Openfabric is that iPhone moment for the AI, for the AI space. Because up to now, AI, even though there were some very interesting use case and some very interesting application, they all stay in close in the corporate and in the big companies, silos. So essentially, even though the innovation was there, this was hardly accessible to people, or may have been accessible to a sort of application, like a Siri maybe, or Face ID or similar. But what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve, and the problem we are solving is that we are unleashing that force, that energy, that capabilities that make all these companies that big as they are today. We'll make it accessible to end user, to people to use it. So I guess Openfabric, we see it as the iPhone moment for the AI space.
Oh, I like that one, the iPhone for the AR space. So I mean, people in the audience are already taking note down, and this leads me to the next question, which is going to be our final question from my end as a host, and we will open the stage for the audience to ask you the question directly. If you're in the audience, if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand, and our backstage team will bring you right on stage. So, Andrei, you talk about all the amazing things and all the big vision and plans and ideas. I want to know, because I'm like really serious right now to learn about the next step. When should we expect to start testing Openfabric?
So currently, we are not just only preparing the protocol. We are also building some early use case, which essentially are like some application which let the people to see the potential, see how it's working, and experience the.
So, Andrei, I lost you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So I'll start it over. So I guess to answer your question, The main idea is that, as I told you, basically right now we're not only preparing like the protocol, we're doing the final touch and the polishing of our protocol to make it accessible for the public user. So right now we have something which is our closed testnet, which, as I mentioned, we're testing with a team of AI developers, data scientists, and other people. So we're doing the final adjustment and final touch. And I guess in a few weeks, you're going to be able to play and test our public testnet by your own. But what is important to mention is that essentially you will also going to see some early use cases, some interesting use case that you can play with and experience by yourself what is the true potential of and power of using AI application. Because it's more important to show people how things are working than just to try to explain that.
I mean, I must say this. I'm super excited to really experience the testnet. And for those of you who are in the space and you are looking forward to to having access to the testnet, public testnets, Andrew just mentioned it was going to be a few weeks. And that means that you myself can have access to testing all the amazing things that Andrew just mentioned. Again, if you would like to ask Andrei any question, please feel free to raise up your hand, and our backstage team will bring you up stage, and you can ask Andrei your question directly. But in the meantime, don't forget to follow us, join our Discord and our Telegram channel, and you can get all the information that you need. Yeah. So again, please feel free to raise your hand, and our backstage team will bring you up stage, and you can ask Andrei your question. So we're gonna do like 1 minute, giving an open space for 1 minute. If we don't have anyone from the audience to ask any question that they may have for Andre, we will just go ahead and ask Andre to do his. Okay, we have somebody raising their hand. Ian, can you please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
We have him, Multiverse.
Hello. So first of all, thank you very much for what you are doing. I read that there will be a token generation event, of course, that you are also joining the blockchain space with your project. What will be the purpose of your token? Thank you very much.
So basically, since we're building a decentralized ecosystem, all the transaction, all the operation inside the ecosystem are using the native token. So essentially, as an end user, when you're using an AI application and you're paying for, the application and for the infrastructure usage, you will use the token to do the payment. Of course, this is also going to be used as to create is being used as exchanging value, of course, create healthy reward system. And of course, on the long run, because our aim is to create a truly decentralized ecosystem, is going to be used as a way to to participate in the governance in the ecosystem. So the token is something fundamental to the thing to the protocol we're building, because essentially by using the token and being a truly decentralized network, a lot of people can freely join and make their own contribution. So I guess to answer shortly your question, at the beginning the main usage of the token will be to do the payment inside or being paid for providing a certain deploying an application or providing infrastructure or providing data.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move it back downstage and get the next person up.
Hello, Andrei. Hello, guys. I'm Vio. I'm also from CBU. And firstly, I wanted to ask you about tokens. What was the purpose of the tokens? But now you just explain it. So I wanted to ask you if you had an head of AI development in your project.
So right now we have two very experienced people. So we have Raghu, which is actually a professor of MIT. He's teaching blockchain and AI, which is it's advising us in both the AI field and blockchain side. And we also have Hjalmar, which is one of the top AI researchers from York University in Canada. So in terms of research and experience, we have two one of the most experienced expert in the AI field.
Okay, but where I can find them? Because I'm watching on the team list and I can't see Radu.
Raghu. It's Raghu.
How?
Raghu.
Okay. Got it. And I wanted to ask you again. You are going to launch some NFTs. Who we will be able to mint for free? How do you think that the community will handle the floor price? I don't know. I don't want to be like on the Multiverse 6 just to flip the NFTs with a low price.
So I guess it's important to understand the purpose of the NFT, because in the end we are not an NFT project. Our main goal is to incentivize people from our community, especially people who are very active, But our main goal is not to launch an NFT. So the NFT is just the cherry from the top of the cake, just to incentivize the truly truly involved and people from our community.
Okay, I understand, but can you give us some insights from the what benefits we will have by holding an NFT from your project?
So I guess you got some details about this in our channels, but in essence, people which are holding NFTs will be able to take place, to have some whitelist in maybe in airdrops and a lot of other events that we prepare it in the future. So this is just a first step that will get you recognized as some very valuable member of our community. And of course, this is something that will unlock you a lot of things on the long run. So don't think at NFT as just purely as all these NFT projects. These are just something to show and to detect all these very very active and very involved people from our community. And of course, this can be used later on to get a lot of things that we're currently preparing. I don't want to disclose them right now, but there's a lot of things prepared for all these amazing people which are part of our community.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, good. So we have a couple of questions coming in from our Discord channel, and Andrei, this one is for you. Um, People in our community they want to know what does decentralized really mean for AR. They want you to break this down in a simple term for them to really understand. So from your perspective, what does decentralization really mean for AR?
So I guess maybe the question is more about why do we need to decentralize AI? Maybe that's the question. So try to think like that. So right now AI is something siloed by the big companies. So essentially, if you're like a big company, you don't have like a big pocket. You're not capable to make use of AI application easily. So of course we see some use case like ChatGPT that essentially they cost a lot of money for the open AI people, and I'm not sure for how long they will keep it free. But the core idea is that by creating a decentralized network which is capable to execute any AI application, we reduce the cost a lot for the AI application, and that's something like a game changer because it's open up the access to a lot of people. At the same side, being decentralized, we can, jointly add the computational power of a lot of nodes to be able to execute the same complex algorithm as currently only maybe Google or big companies can do it. And that's a lot, because essentially there's a lot of smart people out there who got a lot of idea to create amazing things, but unfortunately they lack an ecosystem, they lack a place where they can actually deploy those AI applications, and they can, monetize it and create even more smart and even more interesting solutions. So I guess the decentralized part of AI is like the next big thing. It's something that is moving AI further on, because I guess the future of AI won't be just about creating bigger and bigger models, but it is going to be about combining models and combining multiple AI applications. So the decentralized part is very, very important for AI, and it's a fundamental thing that it has to happen in the AI space.
That's a really very interesting answer, and thank you so much for giving more clarity to that. So we have a couple of questions still coming in, and if you are in the audience, you want to ask a question, please raise up your hand, and our backstage team will bring you up stage. But if you don't want to speak and you just want to write your comment, you can put it in the comment section, and again, we'll give you all the support that you need. We'll give you all the answers. So Andrew, there's another question that we have here. This person from our Discord wants to know, does Openfabric have an AI researcher, head of AI development? They want to know about, the community in our team. So does Openfabric have an AI researcher, head of AI development?
So I guess this question is very similar to the one asked before by Mark, I guess. So I guess it has been answered.
Oh, okay, thank you. My bad. So we have another one. What is something that makes Openfabric stand out from this competition? They want to know what is this one thing that set us apart from the rest of Openfabric competitors in the market?
So I guess if it's about to look at the existing competitors, all these people, are creating some very, technical solution. Things, their solution are targeted for the technical people. So I guess one of the key differentiator when we think about Openfabric compared to the other people, which is, is like our secret sauce, is that we managed um, to create like our technology in a way that you don't have to be technical to make use of it. So for instance, if you're thinking on some other solution, you have to be like a developer, you have to understand like, how servers are working, how, all these technical details to make use of, a application. But with Openfabric, it's the other way around. We want end user, we want simple people to make use of AI application without being technical themselves. And I guess this is very important because we work a lot to improve the user experience, because as you may imagine, AI technology has a lot of complexity beneath it, has a lot of details. And we work a lot to create a seamless user experience, something that makes sense for the user, something that, make them wish to use that technology. And I guess this is one of the key take-ins, about Openfabric that other people, are trying or they are failing or they cannot create yet. So this is something that is like our secret sauce.
I think I'm actually excited to hear this, and I believe that within our community there are a lot of excitement in the corner here and there, and people want to know when will be the official launch of Openfabric.
So, as I guess I currently mentioned in some previous questions, so right now our focus is to prepare the public testnet. We want to let people see our product. We want to let people play with it. We want the people to experience it. We don't want just to, promise a lot of things. We just show it to the people. We just, build them and let them play with it. So in a few weeks, we're going to launch our public testnet, and people will be able to play with it and use all these AI use case that we currently have prepared for them. Just as example, because Openfabric is not limited to those use case that we were able at the beginning. These are just some samples for people to have an idea about how the technology works. Because in essence, the protocol we built it's basically let people to build any use case, any AI application they can think of. So I guess that the next important step in our roadmap is to make the public testnet available to a lot of people so that they can play with it and test it and have their own experience. We just don't want to tell people about. We just show them.
Great. So if you're just joining us again, this is our very first PMA session, and Andrew is giving answers to all of your concerns. And if you do have a question, please raise up your hand. Our backstage team will bring you up stage, and you can ask Andrew directly. So you have the chance to interact with Andrew directly, and you don't want to miss out on this. Andrew, we have a couple of questions from the backstage team, and people from the Discord want to know: are you going to launch a token? ICO on is sorry, I have to read this over. Are you going to launch the token ICO on a CX or DX? If so, why and which is the choosing one?
So yeah, of course, we're going to launch a token. Our current strategy it's something that we work on, and once this is going to be ready, and we will go have all the pieces in places, we're going to announce to our community. But up to the point where you have all these people, all these things in place, I guess we will not going to provide, like we're not going to disclose that yet. But stay tuned because some big announcements are coming in.
Awesome, awesome. And with that being said, there's another question that comes in because you talked about all the big ideas and all the amazing vision. So people are concerned about how do you intend to attract, AI enthusiastic and people who are more passionate about decentralized product. What is the marketing strategies for that?
So I guess in order to understand, the need, because right now there's a huge need from all these AI developers that currently they know how to use those frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, or Transformers, all these amazing tools that we see like company like OpenAI and other people creating some interesting use case. They know how to use those technology, but they lack they lack the infrastructure to create the application. So right now there's a lot of very smart people from from a lot of places in the world, like even India, Nigeria, Europe, and USA, and all over the place. There's a lot of people very very interested to and keen to build their own solution. So we actually got in our waiting list a lot of people who are waiting just to get access to Openfabric, to build their own ideas, to deploy their own application. So right now there's a high demand actually for from all these AI innovators, which are keen to experiment, to create their own ideas, to create their own application. So I guess this is the right timing because the AI appetite of the public has has just started, and we're going to see a lot of more of these people willing to build and to make use of AI technology. And Openfabric is providing exactly that. They're providing them a place where they can build their own ideas and make them accessible to a lot of people in just seconds.
Yes, you mentioned about providing the place, like a marketplace that allow developers and data scientists to come together to create and deploy their own idea and monetize their AR application as skills. This leads me to the next question that we have from our Discord member. One of our members want to know, on which chain will the Open Fabric be built, or are you trying to build a whole new blockchain redesign only for the Open Fabric project, only for AI projects? Let me read this over. On which chain would Open Fabric be built, Or are you trying to build a new blockchain redesign only for the AI project?
So it's I guess in order to answer that question properly, it makes sense to understand about a bit about AI applications. So AI application, they have some very specific requirements in terms of the data usage, in terms of speed, in terms of some very specific requirements that are required to run and train AI models. So initially we just try to build on top of one of the existing blockchain, like maybe Polygon or Ethereum. Unfortunately, these are not designed for this specific requirement. So maybe Ethereum even though it can process like a gazillion of transactions, it doesn't pay too much attention about how long it takes for that transaction to execute. And this is very important from an end user perspective, because for the user doesn't care about how fancy your model, doesn't care about how sophisticated or advanced it. He cares if something is giving him answer in a way that makes sense for him. So what we did, actually we have to push the limit of what the layer one mean when we design our protocol. Of course, we still want to be, we didn't want to be like some outliers. So we still design our protocol to be EVM compliant. This means that we're basically keeping a lot of compatibility with many other layer one. So in a nutshell, we expanded the limit of what the blockchain, what the layer one mean, because AI application has the specific requirements. So our protocol is something new, but still it's compatible with all the EVM compliant, and it's still keeping that EVM compliant, just for integration purpose, and of course for being compliant and being compatible with other people and ecosystem in the space.
Good. I mean, you really gave a very lengthy answer to that, and I think there's a follow-up question to that answer that you just provided. A person from our Discord wants to know: are you planning to integrate the multi-chain ideas in this one?
Yeah, I guess that's a very good question. So when you're thinking about multi-chain, you're thinking about creating bridges. So that's something very fundamental, and actually this is something that we already have it in our mind from the start. So even right now, we build some bridges with other layers one, like ZK Sync, with Reef, with AppyTree, and with Caduceus. So essentially, we build something. Of course, this is more like long hanging fruit that we explore with all these partners. But essentially, we are able to deploy bridges where the people from those ecosystem are able to query AI application at the smart contract level. So this is like a completely functionality by itself. So a very powerful functionality. Just try to imagine what you can achieve in a smart contract where you can actually make use of all the functionality of the powerful usage of what an AI application can provide. So essentially, we are not just trying to be multi-chain. We are building bridges with all the people, with all these other layers one, which are of course interested in integrating AI functionality at the smart contract level. So yeah, I guess the short answer would be that we have this kind of capabilities to work together with other layers one. Yes.
That's a really good answer. Thank you so much, Andrew. So if you are just joining us again, we want to say welcome your active participation in this conversation, and we encourage you to share your thoughts and questions in the comment section, or just raise your hand up, and we will bring you upstage, and you can ask Andrew directly what question you may have for him regarding Openfabric. Again, Andrei mentioned about remembering the one sentence to remember Openfabric is remembering Openfabric as the apple of AR. So if you are just tuning in, let this stick to your mind that if you're leaving this session, you should know that there is a product, there is a company that is coming to the market to revolutionize the way we work with AI and the way we build our ideas and skill to a better way. So, Andrei, that does it from my end in terms of asking questions. So if you do have a question to ask, those of you in the audience, please again raise your hand and we will bring you right up stage and you can ask Andrei all the question, all the concern that you've been keeping up, and he's ready to answer you. Okay, we have another question coming in. One sec. Regarding the blockchain, Andrei, this is for you. Regarding the blockchain, why don't you use a multiverse blockchain, especially since you and Aaron Sebent work on the team? Two, what is the newest partnership with Nutula's chain supposed to achieve?
So I guess in order to answer like the first question, I guess it is very important to understand that the existing blockchain system they have their core design is intended to solve a different problem. So while let's say traditional blockchain system are thought about processing a lot of transactions, they don't care too much about how long it takes for a transaction to execute, and that's why I just trying to substantiate in my previous answer. So it may not be very important, but it is very important when you have to like deploy an AI application and you have to wait like 50 minutes maybe to things to happen. Of course, this is something that is totally unacceptable by the end user. So that's why we have to redesign and rethink. And as I previously mentioned, our technology is fundamental on three major pillars. Like I told you about the DOS or decentralized operating system. I would told you about the TA or the trust execution environment and the ontology connection system. So all of these do not exist in any of those existing blockchain, unfortunately. Even though we try to expand and to start from using one of them, none of existing blockchain, because their fundamental problem is a different one. So that's why we have to push the limit of what a layer one means. So that's why we have to redesign and start everything from scratch. And in terms of the second question, so what was that?
One sec, let me put this. The second question, what is the newest partnership with Natula's chain supposed to achieve? They want to know the newest partnership that you just announced. What does this partnership supposed to achieve?
So I guess the announcement, regarding the new partnership, so, and this is something that we try to build with a lot of potential layer ones and other people. So essentially, the people from Nautilus chain will be able to. Of course, we are working together to deploy this bridge. As I mentioned, previously, we're building a lot of bridge with other layer ones. So they're like another project, and they're willing to integrate AI technology in the things that they're creating. So I guess the main purpose of the partnership is to create this bridge where people from Nautilus ecosystem will be able to integrate and make use of AI technology very easily.
Great. I believe that some of the questions that have been asked, there will be a recording for this. So if you got the time to, if you know anyone who might be interested in listening to this, just head over to our social channel. We're going to post the recap and in the blog post as well. Regarding the Nautilus partnership, I believe that there is a blog post right now out, and you can also just click the blog post link, and you have all the benefits that this partnership entails, as Andrew just mentioned to you. So again, we have roughly about 5 minutes to wrap up this session. And again, here is a chance to ask Andrei all the questions that you have regarding Openfabric AI. And just raise up your hands and we will bring you up stage. If you don't want to come up stage, you can also leave your question in the comment section. Our team will be right there to give you all the support that you need. So for those of you who are just joining us, again, this is our very first AMA session, and we are super excited for this. And we like the way it's going because it's very informative, and we are seeing a lot of engagement, and we want to thank you for that. Again, please raise up your hands, and we'll bring you up stage so you can ask your question. We have 4 minutes to go. If we don't have, if nobody wants to ask a question, okay, we'll have one person raising their hand. Okay, good.
Hey, can you hear me, Andrei?
Yes.
Yes, Crypto, we're trying to connect Crypto
Yeah.
to, yes.
Yeah, quick question in terms of timelines, in terms of funding, how much funding you already have generated, and what is the plan going forward? What can we realistically expect timelines-wise? Thank you.
I guess there are like two separate questions, right? You mean what is our process in the fundraise? I guess, right?
So first question is with regards to funding, how much funding you have raised already? And the second question is the timelines for launch, for example. Thank you.
So I guess regarding your first question, so we're going to make announce that once we have closed our private round. So right now in the process of raising it in the private round. So once this is going to be closed, we're going to disclose it and announce it openly. So yeah, our timeline. So it's about to. I guess you're asking about maybe TG or I guess.
Yeah, timelines up to launch, and is there a target funding? Well, you say you will announce openly, so that's fine. So that's okay. But when do you think realistically Openfabric AI can launch?
So our plan, is to launch our project in at the end of the second or maybe middle of the third quarter. So this is the plan currently. Of course, assuming that the market won't blow up again and things will get crazy again. But yeah, given the current market condition and the way we see what's happening in the market, we're aiming for that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Crypto, I hope that answered your question. So, guys, with just 1 minute to go, we are not taking any more questions. So, we just ask Andrei for a closing statement. But before we leave this session, please make sure to follow us on our social media, and you can still have updates on all the information that you need. If you need additional information, again, we have our blog posts. You can visit our blog page, and you can learn all the amazing things that Andrei just mentioned. They are all listed there, and. Andrei, this is the time to give us a closing statement.
Yeah, so I guess for all our community members, it's a time to stay tuned because we're preparing some amazing things around. So just stay tuned because we're going to change the world. So be part of it.
Yeah, just try and smoke this the sound effect. That's fantastic. Again, for those of you who just joined us, this is our very first AMA session, and we want to say thank you so much for sticking around. And there'll be more sessions to come regarding Openfabric. So again, if you are just joining us, make sure to follow all of our social media accounts, and you can have information regarding this AMA session. There will be a recap, and we'll post it on all of our social media so you can have access to it. We want to say again, thank you for being a part of our community, and we look forward to connecting with you and pushing the boundaries with AI and technology. Thank you for joining us, and do have yourself a pleasant evening.
Thank you very much.
Okay.